Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with William, where today we're going to be making ratatouille. Let's do this. So to start, we need to make the sauce. Heat about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil over medium-high heat in a cast iron skillet before adding half of a chopped onion and 1 chopped carrot. Next, I'm going to add 2 bell peppers, 1 red, 1 yellow. Feel free to use whatever colors you can find. Go ahead and give that a stir and get all of those flavors mixing together well. Cook the onions and the carrots and the peppers down for 3 to 5 minutes until they get nice and golden brown before adding in about 6 or 7 cloves of chopped garlic and a nice tablespoon or 2 of tomato paste. Mix that all together and fry it until it becomes fragrant. Do not let this burn, it should only take about 30 seconds or so. Stop the cooking with about a half cup of red wine. Mix that together and let it reduce by half. While you're doing this, you can add some black pepper and some salt. And I like to add a little bit of dried thyme at this stage before adding in 1 whole can of whole peeled tomatoes. Go ahead and stir that up so all of the flavors can get to know each other, and then let it cook on medium-high heat, stirring often for about 30 minutes. While that's simmering is the perfect time to add dried herbs. I like thyme, rosemary, oregano, and a few bay leaves, just to help spread some aromatic flavor throughout the sauce. Go ahead and stir that up one more time to get all of those aromatics fully dispersed, and then let it cook for about 30 minutes or until the tomatoes soften up. Now, I actually lost the footage for what you have to do next, but the general idea is you move it into a smaller, taller pan just like this one, and use your immersion blender to chop up a lot of those bigger chunks. You can also just use a regular blender, but you don't want to get a full puree and make it totally smooth, but you want to get rid of some of the bigger pieces. It should look something just like this. Now you could go ahead and use this right away, but I think it's better after it's cooked for 2 to 4 hours, so go ahead and cover that and leave it on low heat while we chop up our vegetables. So for this recipe, we're going to start with 6 Roma tomatoes. Some people like to use a mandolin to chop all these vegetables to make it nice and quick and even. I like the unevenness that comes from hand slicing it. You get some that sort of melt into the sauce, but some that are thicker. It should look something like that. Next, we're going to do 2 yellow squashes, 2 eggplants. My eggplants actually ended up being huge, so I only used 1. We'll deal with these huge slices later, but as you can see, they are giant. And finally, I thinly sliced 2 whole zucchinis. Feel free to add any sort of vegetable in here that you want. These are just the traditional ones. Now, like I said, if your eggplants are as big as mine were, you might want to only get 1 eggplant. These end up being huge and they are way bigger than the other vegetables. So I like to just cut them into quarters, stack them up like this, and just slice your way all the way down, and then just do that again after a 90-degree turn. These give you pieces that are much closer in size to all of the other vegetables. I like to lay out my veggies on a baking sheet like this so they're easy to access when I am building the ratatouille. Speaking of, let's get that started. We're going to go back in our cast iron skillet and we're going to use our sauce. I like to give it one final taste and add a little bit of fresh cracked pepper and some kosher salt if needed. I also think some white sugar is really nice in this sauce. Go ahead and give that a stir and then start spooning a little bit onto the cast iron skillet. You want a really thin layer here or else it'll get too soupy. You're not going to use all of this sauce, but it saves really nicely and it's great on pasta or even a pizza. Make sure that your sauce layer is nice and even on the bottom of your skillet. Now we can start building the ratatouille. I went with tomato, yellow squash, eggplant, and then zucchini. And then I found it easiest to do about 3 sets of that at a time, so 12 whole slices of fruit. And then just start laying that all throughout your cast iron. Despite what Pixar would tell you, this is not actually technically ratatouille. This is what is called Confit Byaldi. Ratatouille is all of these same ingredients just chopped up in a stew. The presentation just makes it look pretty. Whatever you want to call this sure does look delicious and I'm excited to get it into the oven. But first we have to make a sauce to put on top of it as well. This is going to start with about a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Use a nice one if you have it. The flavor really comes through in this sauce. In that olive oil we're going to add some fresh cracked black pepper for some flavor and some heat. A little bit of fresh thyme. I like to chop up about a tablespoon's worth. And then parsley. I like to just chop it straight off the bunch like this and get about a 1/4 cup of finely chopped fresh parsley. I prefer the flat leaf kind over the curly leaf, but whatever you can find works. Finally, grate in about 2 cloves of garlic using a microplaner. You could also use a garlic press or just finely chop it, whatever you have works. I just prefer the microplane. Now you just give that a little mix until it looks something like this. To finish the ratatouille, I'm going to drizzle a large amount of a nice olive oil over the top of it. This will just help it brown a little bit as it cooks. You also need to make sure to season it with some fresh cracked black pepper and a little bit of kosher salt or flaky salt. Remember that the vegetables here are not seasoned yet, so it really brings out their flavor if you add some salt and pepper to them. Finally, you're going to want to take that sauce that we just made and just drizzle it all over and just shake it and get little clumps. This isn't something that you spread evenly. You want to leave little piles of it all over the place. Go ahead and cover that with tin foil and then bake in a 375-degree oven for about 40 minutes before removing the foil and baking for another 20 minutes or until it gets nice and bubbly and the vegetables are tender throughout. Look at that. It looks delicious. Now you can serve it up as a side dish over some rice, or if you want that Pixar presentation, you're going to need a ring mold, or if you don't have one like me, you can just make a ring out of tin foil. Go ahead and spoon a large amount of the ratatouille into that ring mold, and then another layer in a different direction just like this, and then you can remove your ring mold and reveal ratatouille. I like to garnish the plate with a little bit of that red sauce we made mixed with some olive oil to help it flow a little bit better, as well as a sprinkle of our green sauce that went on top of the ratatouille. Finish with fresh cracked pepper and some flaky salt, and then you have ratatouille. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a great time making this dish, and I couldn't have done it without all of you guys. So please remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below what I should cook next time. This was a viewer submission on my Instagram, so I really do listen to you guys, and this was very fun to make. Thanks so much. I hope you have a great day.